what's up YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I'm here for this week's My 2 Cent Switch/gaming video for this week, where I take a look at some of the stories that caught my attention and give you my thoughts and my opinion. For this week, obviously, it's going to be for April 14th to the 20th, and we got 9 stories, actually. Certainly a lot, with one that broke, I believe, on Thursday, since this video will be up on Saturday, that basically came out of nowhere. But we'll get started. We'll get to that one soon. So why don't we get started with our first part of our My 2 Cent video, and this one has to do with apparently the PlayStation 5 or PS5, although obviously what we call it the PlayStation 5. As some of you are probably aware, we are gearing up and pretty much getting close to the next iteration of consoles, to be exact. Obviously the PS4 and the Xbox One are coming to an end at this point, and not to mention, we know that Microsoft last year at E3 announced that they are working on their next console, which is obviously the next Xbox. What they call it remains to be seen, to be exact. Well, this week, one of the architects of the PS4 spilled some beans on some of the stuff that has come out regarding the PlayStation 5. Even though they don't officially call it that, I think it's a safe bet to assume that's what it's going to be called. And there's some interesting information that came out about it. In an article on Destructoid, the link will be in the description, not to mention comments that were made on, not to mention the comments that he made when he was interviewed by Wired magazines. Here's what the article is saying. Viewed to us by the way of Wired article, Mark Cerny, apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly, who is once again the lead system architect for this project, declared that the PS5, or whatever it's called, name that's given, like I said, most likely will be PlayStation, likely be called PS5, will not arrive in 2019. That's not a rumor or a guess, that's straight from his mouth. Oh, and it's a box. It's weird to say this in the era of Google Strata and the like, but it will be a console with hardware inside, and it will support physical media, since it's partially based on current architects. It will also be backwards compatible with PS4 games. He was also not ready to talk about PSVR support or whether they were going next with VR, although there has been reports saying that the PlayStation VR will support the PS5, from what I've been hearing as well. The hardware in mind is set to be a CPU is based off a 3rd generation of AMD's Ryzen RYZN line and contains 8 cores of the company's new 7nm Zen 2 microarchitectural, if I'm saying, apologize if I'm saying the name correctly, with a GPU that's a custom variety of Randon's RADEON NAVI family, will support ray tracing, a technology that models the travel of light to similarly complex interaction in 3D environment. Sony is hyping up ray tracing as angle to a $10,000 high-end Hollywood visual effects. How much of that magic will translate into a gaming console is yet to be seen. 8K videos as well as 4K obviously is also confirmed. He also made sure that the PlayStation 5 will fit with a SSD, which has much more tangible and obvious benefits. Sony promises faster loading time as a result, in which he tested using Spider-Man on a PS4 Pro and a next generation development kit. The load goes from a 15 seconds to a 0.8 seconds. Games. As for the software, that's all up in the air. The Spider-Man demo is telling. They're saying Spider-Man 2 for PS5 has got to be in the works. And Ryder points out that a smile from Cerny when asked about Death Stranding all but confirms a PS4 PS5 cross generation release. I'm not surprised if Death Stranding is basically going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if I see that on the PS5. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if Cyberpunk 2077 makes its way over to the PS5. So apparently we did get some interesting information about this. Obviously they're aiming, the architect, for what they're saying, the architect will be similar to that on the PS4, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit more powerful. The fact that they're sticking with physical media, which is nice, that certainly is good. Although I wouldn't be surprised if if they offer, I think Sony will probably offer maybe some sort of streaming service for the PS5, but obviously physical medias are still going to be there. And of course, obviously, we're not going to see this come out in 2019, which honestly, I'm not entirely shocked by that announcement, to be exact. Obviously, I think it's clear that the PS4 still has some life in it, but probably this could be the last year for the PS4. I wouldn't be surprised if I hear a 2020 or 2021 launch date for the PS5. So it is certainly interesting. As for the price, they haven't said what the price point is yet, but many speculate that it could be around $500, the same price as was with the PS4 when that originally came out, which wouldn't be surprised if that is the case though. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens when Microsoft starts revealing stuff about their next console though, so it's going to be really interesting on that. Probably they'll say something in E3, although we don't know 100% for sure. And what's going to be really interesting with all this said and done about Sony announcing their next console is Sony might be in a different position than they were when the PS4 originally launched. When the PS4 originally launched, they really dominated this generation, mostly because of the mistakes both Nintendo and Microsoft made. Obviously Nintendo with the Wii U, thinking that lightning was going to strike twice again. Obviously that didn't work. And then of course Microsoft shooting themselves with their foot with the whole always online and all your entertainment in one, and not to mention the infamous, if you don't have a internet connection, we have a system for you. It's called the Xbox 360, which that was probably a piss poor comment to make. But now the situation is going to be different. Nintendo certainly is in a good position as of right now with the Switch, and Microsoft under Phil Spencer is or Xbox under Phil Spencer is certainly in a better position than it is, and not to mention they're buying up studios. So Sony this generation with the PS5 could find themselves in a different environment and in a different competition than they were during the PS4 era. Now again, it's too early to tell. We don't know. They haven't revealed the system yet. They haven't revealed the price point at this time yet, though like I said, many suspect $500 to be exact. But I will say it could be a different environment than what it was back when the PS4 launches. As for all the stuff that they announced, it certainly sounds like it's going to be a powerful. Certainly, it will be it sounds like it's a little bit much beefier version of what the PS4 is, considering that it's using the current architect. And I am definitely happy the fact that not only is it going to be physical media, but it's also backwards compatible, which is definitely a nice thing for them to have, to be able, now you can play some of your favorite PS4 games on the PS5. So overall, very interesting announcement they have for what they said about the PS5 at this time. It'll be interesting when we see the official confirmation, when we see like what the system officially looks like and the official price point though, and it will be really interesting to see where the PS5 is once obviously once Microsoft launches their next system, or see what they announce or what they bring to the table. So overall, very interesting to hear Microsoft and not Microsoft, Sony talk about some of the stuff, or at least one of the architecturals of the PS5, talk about a lot of the stuff here. And I'm guessing probably sometime next year they'll officially show the system, and we'll see if it comes out in 2020 or 2021. So I'm obviously a little excited for the PS5. Obviously I'm going to be saving up my money though for when they announce the price point, which I wouldn't be shocked if it's $499 / $500. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 2. And this one has to do with SNK announcing them not only announcing a new console, but also a new entry in one of their SNK game series. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at SNK. For those, I'm sure most people know the name SNK by now, the famous famous Japanese video game developer. Most of the people will remember that. Most people know them for the release of the King of Fighters games, to be exact, especially with, I think, the last one that was released on the PS4 and the Xbox One. But for those who grew up during the 80s and 90s, will remember them for doing more than just, games like King of Fighters. Most of them remember them from games like either Fatal Fury, the Samurai Showdown, which we also know that a new entry is coming. It's not only coming to the PS4 and Xbox One, but Nintendo Switch as well. And several other arcade games, such as, Shock Trooper, Shengu, if I'm saying the name correctly, Super 8-Man, and one of my favorite 2D shooter series, the Metal Slug series, particularly with Metal Slug 3 being my all-time favorite, though. But not only that, they also released their own home console as well, although at a very, very pricey. It was, what I understand, very expensive though. Well, it seems as though SNK seems to be dipping their toes not only in bringing maybe a new Neo Geo hardware, but also, it looks like that a favorite 2D series of mine, the Metal Slug series, it seems to be that new entry is in development. According to an article from Destructoid, link will be in the description, it said during an investor meeting, basically it says, quote, veteran developer publisher SNK held an investor report in Seoul earlier today, or this week. This article came out on the 16th. According to a report by RULIWEB, translated courtesy of Twitter user GATORAY, there's not only a new entry in the Metal Slug series currently in development, but also a Neo Geo version 2 and 3 on the books. The Metal Slug title is an all-new release, not linked with the mobile game currently in development at Mobile Giant TENCENT. This title is being built for a mainstream console release sometime in the future. There are currently little to no details about the Neo Geo version 2 and 3, other than to say it's a semi open platform and has come about thanks to the pleasant response to the Neo Geo Mini. Details are very scarce at this time. They also pointed out that the 2018 cutesy fighter SNK Heroine Tag Team Frenzy succeeded in shifting around 300,000 copies to date. Going forward, SNK is aiming to release 2 major games a year from 2020 onward, though. It's worth pointing out that and Nintendo Life are reporting that the Metal Slug title is currently in development not only for the new console, but other systems as well. So, it's very interesting to see SNK is going to be releasing a new Neo Geo, to be exact. Like I said before, in the past, it was really, really expensive, and I will be very curious to see how much this new Neo Geo costs, to be exact. So it will be really interesting, although we'll have to actually see it, though. The other thing is that it seems that SNK, or SNK Tag Team Frenzy, or what's it called again? Let me look that up one more time. SNK Heroine Tag Team Frenzy has sold around 30,000 copies since launch. So, not bad. I mean, again, I tried the game out. I'm not a huge fighting game person, but obviously, especially for those who own a Nintendo Switch, this is the closest thing to a Dead or Alive game at this time. And maybe I'm being a dead horse about that one, though, but really? Terry Bogard as a woman? Really, SNK? I mean, you could have picked any other female characters from your SNK library. Hell, you could have picked the female character from the It's So Bad It's Good arcade game, The Super Spy, and you went with Terry Bogard as a woman. I would have loved to be a fly in that room to figure out exactly who came up with that idea. So, but either way, the game did very well. But to me, hearing that a new Metal Slug game is in development definitely puts a smile on my face. As I said earlier, I'm a really big fan of the series though. I love the classic run and gun 2D shooter with its unique art style that went with it though. Metal Slug 3 is my favorite entry in the series as well, so it's nice to see a brand new entry in the Metal Slug series going to happen. I am curious to see how they are going to develop this one. Is it going to follow the classic like the other versions are going to do? Are they going to go a completely different direction? Are they going to take another shot, making it into a 3D game like they tried in the PS2 one? Although I heard that one got negative reviews. So I'm a little curious about what direction they're going to go with the new Metal Slug game that's in development. If I had it my way though, and again, my opinion and my opinion alone on this, if they're doing a brand new Metal Slug game, I would love to take it into the Metroidvania style. I mean, that's my approach to be exact, but we'll see how it is. So overall, great that SNK tag team, SNK Heroine Tag Team Friendly seems to have done well. Interesting to see what Neo Geo version 2 and 3 are going to be, and definitely happy to see that a new Metal Slug game is in the works. Hopefully we'll hear more information about that one soon. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 3, and this one has to do with a update for the Nintendo Switch, and this being the last week of Reggie Fils-Aimé being president of Nintendo of America. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at some things that came out for Nintendo this week, or at least some interesting news that came out for it. The first one we'll be talking about is that this week Nintendo updated the Nintendo Switch and added some neat features or interesting features that they have put out. According to an article from Nintendo Life, they're basically saying, let me get it up. Basically, it's update 8.0.0. So here's what they added though. According to what we understand, it will be a sort software feature is available after selecting to view all software from the home menu. Software can be sorted by time, last player, total play time, software title, and published title. The all software option displays when there are 13 or more software icons on the home menu. A view all available news option is available within the news, allowing you to view all news items currently being distributed. Select from 15 new icons from Splatoon 2 to Yoshi's Crafted World. A feature to transfer your save data is now available, allowing you to transfer your save data from individual games between your Nintendo Switch system. It's worth pointing out that save data will not remain on your source system after transfer process is completed. A zoom feature that's enabled from within system settings. A option is available to prevent the system from waking up from sleep mode when the AC adapter is disconnected. So like when you unplug like the Nintendo Switch or remove it from the dock, it basically turns on. This will basically, it won't turn on every time you pull it out from the dock or unplug it from the AC adapter. A VR mode 3D visual restriction is available within parental controls. Hong Kong, Taiwan, and South Korean obviously is available for selection in regions. The following names have also been changed. Functionality remains the same. Save data cloud backup to save cloud data. Transfer your user and save data to transfer your user data. An update has also been released for the Joy-Cons as well. So certainly we got some interesting updates. The one that caught my attention the most is the transfer your save data, allowing you to transfer it from one Switch to another, which does make you kind of give the impression that Nintendo is sort of kind of setting the stage for the possibility if the rumors about the Switch Mini or if the Switch Pro or whatever it's called are going to be true or not. So I think this kind of sort of sets the stage for that to happen, although we'll have to wait to hear official announcements on that one. My only disappointment about this is that we still haven't gotten something like folders or anything like that, like what we saw during the Wii U and also with the Nintendo 3DS. I really think Nintendo needs to add that. We need to see folders on there to make it a little bit easier to organize any of the games, especially those who decide to take the digital distribution route, downloading games from the Nintendo eShop onto the Nintendo Switch. So some interesting things right there, but again, still, I would like to see them put, like folders in there as well. And last but not least, this was the last week for Reggie Fils-Aimé, as he has officially stepped down as Nintendo of America. Though he has left several tweets ranging from "Thank you for all the warm welcomes" to Twitter, "I'm packing up my office, lots of memories here," to "The legend started here, my badge from E3 2004, my name is Reggie," the famous "I'm about taking names and kicking ass." Remember that speech very well. To trying on his me head, though. That's part of the archive. He even reads a comment that says, he even posted the Master Sword that was in his office stays behind, ready for the next hero to fight for wisdom, courage, and power. And even the new CEO, Doug Bowser, tweeted in by saying, "Thank you for everything, Reggie, but most of all, thanks for the smiles." It is kind of sad to see Reggie go in a way, though. I mean, he really sort of presented himself as sort of a unique CEO of Nintendo of America, though. I may not always 100% agree with all decisions that he made there, but I do have a lot of respect for the man, though, and it is sad to see him go, but obviously he wants to move on and do other things as well. And you know what? I'm going to give Doug Bowser a chance, the new CEO of Nintendo of America. I want to see what he could do and what he could bring to the table as well. Maybe he'll continue some of the stuff that Reggie did, or maybe he'll offer something interesting and unique to bring to the table as president of Nintendo of America. And obviously, with his name being Bowser, the memes are going crazy with it, as Bowser's running Nintendo and all that stuff. Although, it'll be interesting to see how long that lasts and how long will that die out, though. And obviously, he may not have the same kind of look as, say, like Reggie with the Reginator and so forth. So, it's the end of one legacy and the beginning of the other at Nintendo of America. So, I would say, best of luck for you, Reggie, wherever life takes you and whatever you do going forward. And I would say I wish Doug Bowser the best of luck as Nintendo of America's president, and I will definitely give him a chance to see what he could bring to the table at Nintendo, particularly as being president of Nintendo of America. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, I'm going to give you my thoughts on after seeing the trailer for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, though. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 4 of our My 2 Cent video, and this one has to do with last week's reveal of, or actually the first teaser trailer we got so far of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, developed by Respawn Entertainment and being published by EA. Now, ever since EA had acquired the Star Wars license, courtesy of Disney, which purchased Lucasfilm and Star Wars and so forth, though, their handling of the license has been, well, pardon my language on this, been pretty much a piss poor job. We've seen cases where basically the license has been used in basically just mobile games with recurring monetization. Star Wars Battlefront that was released with a poor reception, not to mention supposedly charging $60 for a little to no content game and then charging $50 for a little to no content game. Then came Star Wars Battlefront 2 and the debacle of the mess that came, especially with the whole loot boxes and microtransaction that, well, pissed off a lot of people, got the attention of mainstream media, got the attention of the head of Disney, Bob Iger, which, from what came out, basically had to call EA and tell them to remove the microtransaction, got the attention of several politicians and governments to investigate whether loot boxes are considered a form of gambling, though, with some countries like Belgium really clamping down on it, though, and EA openly defiant say they're going to fight it, only now to backtrack. Not to mention, we later learn how several studios have pretty much, or like Visceral, shut down and canceling the Star Wars game, to be exact. And reports coming out how EA did not want the license or anything like that, and Bob Iger coming out defending EA, say they have handled the license and all that stuff. So let's just say their handling of the license has not been very good. So last week we finally got a reveal of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which was supposedly announced at E3's last year's E3 at EA's god-awful press conference, to be exact, just the name itself. And what we've had so far, what they've only showed so far, has basically been like just a teaser trailer with no gameplay whatsoever. But supposedly some information has come out. Some of the information we've learned so far, according to some, is that Jedi Fallen Order will play like Metroid or Zelda, not Dark Souls to be exact, according to what some of the developers are saying. We've also learned that the game will run on Unreal Engine 4, not the Frostbite engine, the same engine that seems to be used in almost all of EA's games and have made with mixed results or terrible results. Look at Mass Effect Andromeda, to, I think, Anthem, and we see the mess that has caused, although Anthem has so many issues going with it. And of course, the other thing is the no microtransactions or loot boxes, as to basically the developers have come out and said that there will be no microtransactions or loot boxes, although many still worry that EA might add them along down the road, as we saw Bethesda claim that there weren't going to be any, where the microtransaction would be cosmetic before kind of doing that somewhat with the health packs, to be exact. So I will say, based on the trailer and the information that has come out so far about Jedi Fallen Order, is that it sounds promising, but I'm very, very cautious about this. EA, for its part, even if it's not Respawn's fault or anything like that, EA, for its part, has proven time and again that why they are the worst company in America. They talk about they want to be the greatest video game company out there, and they have done a piss poor job. And the way they've handled the Star Wars license has been terrible at best, though. To me, the whole thing surrounding Jedi Fallen Order, all this information that's come out, sounds like, to me, comes off as a too good to be true situation. I mean, don't get me wrong, I want this to succeed and all that stuff. I would love to see this become a successful single-player Star Wars game, though, but I have my doubts. It's just that with EA publishing this title, I really seriously have doubts about this game, and they have not earned they haven't earned a lot of people's trust on why we should buy this game, especially after they've the debacle of the mess they handled with the Star Wars license, particularly with Battlefront 2. So I'm just not entirely sold on this at this time, though. I would have to see the actual gameplay, and I would have to actually see the gameplay on this. And given that it's being published by EA, though, this is not I'm not going to pre-order this title or anything like that. I might wait a week or two, or maybe a month or two, before if I even consider getting this title. I just don't have a lot of confidence in this title, though. I could be wrong, and so far Respawn hasn't been bad or anything like that. Supposedly Titanfall 2 people like that, though. They like the single player campaign, even though it was like 4 hours long, but blame EA for their decision to release that right next to Battlefield 1, saying that they want to give players options, and well, we all know how that turned out so far. Apex Legends right now seems to be doing pretty well for them at this moment as well. So it is possible that Jedi Fallen Order could be a good game, could be the single player Star Wars game a lot of people have been hoping for. But again, it's EA, and that's the part that's very, very difficult for some people, though. And right now, I have my doubts, but I'm not going to. I want to see what the actual gameplay it is, and I'm going to take a wait and see on this on Jedi Fallen Order. But for right now, I don't have a lot of confidence on this title, though. But I'm not going to write it off entirely at this time. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get to part 5, and this one has to do with supposedly some sales numbers regarding Labo VR, though. Mostly some mixed results, though. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 5 of our My True Cent video, and for this one, this has to do with regarding Nintendo Labo, particularly the Nintendo Labo VR, though. Now, obviously, Labo, either you love it or hate it, though. Obviously, the whole idea was the whole cardboard thing where you set it up, and you basically, it's like sort of like you interact with it. They had ranging from the giant robot to the variety kit, to be exact. And to some degree, it was kind of like an educational tool and so forth. I never really picked up Labo or anything like that, but I really wasn't against it or so forth, though. And supposedly, it did somewhat okay, although the variety kit, for what I understand, I think fared better than, say, the robot kit, at least based on the NPT charts that came out. Well, obviously, it was also announced earlier this year when Nintendo would be dipping their toes through VR, courtesy of Nintendo Labo. So basically they'll be using that as sort of the VR headset. And just to make it even more interesting, we learned about how Super Mario Odyssey and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild would be basically taking advantage of Labo's VR. And while we have some interesting reports on whether or not it did very well, Labo VR to be exact, and it sounds like it did okay in some areas, but not okay in other areas. So the first one has to do with the UK, and according to Nintendo Live, unfortunately, it doesn't look like Nintendo Labo VR made it into the top 40 in terms of the UK charts. And according to them, they're saying UK chart data is now in for the week of April 13th, revealing that both of the two Nintendo VR kits have failed to make it into the top 40. Nintendo's other recent major releases, Yoshi Crafted World, has slipped to 5th place this week, while Tom Clancy's The Division 2 remains at the top, seeing a slight increase in sales over last week and having no new releases to contend with. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe also saw a slightly increase in sales this week, helping to keep hold of the 4th place spot. So obviously Labo didn't exactly, well, let's just say, at least in the UK though, it didn't really set the world set the UK on fire or anything like that. So obviously that didn't do well. In Japan, however, it is a completely different story, though. At least in Japan, at least according to what Nintendo Life is saying, it entered in at number 2, at least according to Famitsu. It managed to sell more units this week than, that this week's other big Nintendo Switch release, the Final Fantasy X and X2 HD Remaster. And it puts it ahead of its vehicle kit, though. However, it entered at number 2, with the number 1 game being Earth Defense Force Iron Rain, or EDF. So it sold about, according to Famitsu and according to the article, about 26,634 copies. So, not bad for Labo VR kit, at least in Japan. It got it at number 2, not number 1, but That's not bad at all. Otherwise, Yoshi Crafted World's at number 5, Smash Bros. Ultimate is number 6, New Super Mario Bros. U is at number 9, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is at number 10, Final Fantasy X and X2 HD Remastered, the Switch version is at number 3, and as far as the top 10 goes, the PS4 games, only 2 made it onto the list though. Number 1 obviously was Earth's Defense Force Iron Rain, and number 7 was Sekiro Shadow Die Twice at number 7. So obviously Labo did very well in Japan, at the very least so far. As far as the US goes, we'll have to wait until we see what the NPT numbers come out. I don't know if it will be for perhaps we'll hear about the April results in May or so forth, but we'll have to wait and see about that one. But apparently it seems as though it may be sold out across US retailers if this report is true. So according to Nintendo enthusiasts, it is being reported that they're saying, quote, "Something interesting is happening surrounding the availability of the recent release Nintendo Labo VR kit. The new set just went on sale a few days ago, and now stock storage has become an issue in America, as indicated by a post on Reddit. Retailers across the USA are reporting the kits are being sold out, including large ones such as Amazon. The official listing for the full set is currently temporarily out of stock. The cheaper starter set is available for purchase, though shipping is currently being listed as 1 to 2 months away. On Nintendo's official online store, both sets are currently available for purchase. However, though, there's no telling how long this will last given the aforementioned situation facing other retailers. So what could this cause be behind this? They're saying that Nintendo has not yet provided an official statement, but it could be a matter of demand outweighing supplies. Prior to the launch of the VR kit, Target held a clearance sale on all previous released Labo sets, indicating that it was trying to get rid of excessive stock. So there is a chance Nintendo may have not produced a hefty amount of stock of VR just to avoid there being an overabundance sitting on store shelves and not moving. Now that it's cleared, the demand is there, and the stock should hopefully be replenished soon. So yeah, it is possible that they weren't sure if Labo VR was going to do well or not though. So if it is being sold out, then obviously there's a good chance that there certainly is a demand for it though. Now, where it would place on the NPD charts or how well it would do remains to be seen, as we have to hear from Nintendo. Now, I did try out a little bit of the Labo last week when I went over to my local GameStop. A representative of Nintendo was there, and I got a chance to try out at least one of the Labo games, and that is the gun, where you basically, you cock it like this, and you sort of shoot like basically the aliens and all that stuff. I will say, based on my time, or at least with that game though, the Labo VR is interesting though. I will say the fact that the screen is 720p that didn't really bother me as much, and the fact that you don't have to worry about any wires or anything, or like having to hook it up like you would with, like, say, PlayStation VR or like, say, the Oculus Rift or any other VR headset though, does give it an advantage though over those two. That said, I'm not sure about it. I really am not sure, and I think a lot of it's really going to come down to really putting some games out there and so forth. Not to mention, I'm just still trying to figure out exactly how basically the Breath of the Wild and the Mario Odyssey VR games are going to work when you don't have like a strap for the VR headset. So I will say, based on my time, at least with just the one game though, it's an interesting idea. I'm just not 100% sure if it will catch up or not, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it might. Maybe this Labo kit set probably will do well than maybe the other ones though. So we'll have to wait and see. So my overall take of it is that the results seem to be mixed. It didn't do well. It doesn't seem like it did too well in the UK. It certainly seems to be doing well in Japan, and certainly it seems to be sold out here in the US. But whether or not whether or not it enters the NPD charts or actually becomes a success or not remains to be seen. And like I said, based on the one game that I tried out at my local GameStop, it's interesting. I'm just not 100% sure if it will catch on or not, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 6, and this one has to do with the possibility if Apex Legends is going to come to the Nintendo Switch or not. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 6 of our My 2 Cent video for this week, and this one has to do with Apex Legend. Now, earlier this year in January, EA Respawn released Apex Legend in the midst of when reports came out, amidst a stealth release though, following reports coming out of how much of a failure Battlefield 5 was, despite selling, I think, 7 million, did not meet EA's expectations or anything like that. And I think it was getting close to the heels of when Anthem was about to be released. Of course, we all know the storm that created, though. And apparently, Apex Legends being a free-to-play game with microtransactions, which I know everyone's position on that, seemed to have sat well with a lot of people as the game was released, though, and it certainly had garnished a lot of attention, and many people thought it was nice to see something outside of saying like Fortnite to be there and all that stuff. Now, I'm not really a big Battle Royale fan, so the game doesn't really interest me as much. That said, I'm not against the game. I'm not against the game existing or anything like that, and if there's an audience for it, that's great. So there were some questions asked about whether or not this game will come to the Nintendo Switch or not. And so basically Respawn responded to this. And while it certainly doesn't sound like a flat out no, it doesn't sound like they're saying yes, or at least at this time. According to website Gamer Revolution, they're saying, quote, "Considering the system has a solid port of Fortnite, it's clear that Nintendo Switch can handle a good online Battle Royale game. That said, fans have already begun clamoring an Apex Legends Switch version, but the question is, will we ever see it? While Respawn says it doesn't currently have one planned, but it will notify us when or if it's happening. We know that the studio is very busy at the moment between updates for Legends and working on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. That leaves little room for development on a new platform, at least at the moment, but Respawn definitely knows the demand is there." Speaking with Wiretech Support, the studio lead producer, Drew McCoy, addressed the demand. However, he said he stayed tight-lipped when it came to confirming a port of the game for the platform. Basically, he says, quote, if Switch was coming, we would have tell you, and we would blast it across the world," he explained. "After all, it will be a huge get for Nintendo and bringing it more players to the game." That said, McCoy continued, "We are hearing all the Switch players who say they want this game right now," he said. "I can't make any promises right now. We have a lot of things that we're working on, so stay tuned for anything in the future, but currently we don't have anything to announce." So obviously it's not a flat out no, but it's not a flat out yes either. So it's obviously clear that they don't have anything in development at this time. At least that's what they're saying, though. Now, am I against Apex Legends coming to the Nintendo Switch? No, I'm not against the game coming to the Nintendo Switch at all. I don't have a problem if it comes to the Switch or not. If there is an audience for it, I mean, that's great, and I don't see that as an issue. That said, though, do I think it will come to the Nintendo Switch? Given that EA is the publisher, and given their so-called support for the Nintendo Switch right now, which is basically different versions of FIFA, which may or may not run well, Faye and Unravel being released, I'm not sure. I'm really not 100% sure if EA is going to be basically bringing the game, will allow this game to come to the Nintendo Switch, though. I mean, as far as I could tell, their relationship with Nintendo has been spotty at best, though. We've seen their relationship played out during the Wii U era, and it wasn't that great, and I don't have a lot of confidence that Apex Legends could be coming to the Nintendo Switch, but I could be wrong, and maybe they'll surprise us or something like that. So again, I don't have a problem with the game coming to the Nintendo Switch. I'm just not sure if it will or will not, though. Not to mention, it's also worth pointing out that they said that this time they're not bringing Jedi Fallen over to the Nintendo Switch, despite the fact that the game supposedly is running on Unreal Engine 4, and supposedly the Switch supports Unreal Engine 4. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe over time they'll change their opinion, but for right now, it doesn't sound like it's coming to the Nintendo. That doesn't sound like that Apex Legends is coming to the Nintendo Switch currently at this time. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 7 of our My 2 Cent video, and this one has to do with some rumors that have come out recently about the possibility of a next-gen Switch, although there's been some retractions that came out after the story was written. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part, if I can get it right there, yeah, part 7 of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at a new rumor going around regarding the possibility of, the Switch Pro or a next generation for the next iteration of the Nintendo Switch. Now, with the announcement or details of the PlayStation 5, and obviously Microsoft probably will eventually start releasing information about their next system, the next Xbox, whatever they refer to as, it does seem like that we can all suspect that Nintendo will be releasing another version of the Nintendo Switch, though. Whether it's called the Switch Pro or the new Nintendo Switch or anything like that. After all, it's not like the first time Nintendo has done that or released different revisions of their systems, mostly in the handheld division. The Nintendo DS saw, when the first one came out, it was a little bit bulky, then they released the DS Lite, and then they released the DSi, to the Nintendo 3DS, which saw a smaller one, then a bigger one, until they released the new Nintendo 3DS with better hardware, and of course, the camera stick and all that stuff, which we saw ranging from games like a port of the Wii classic Xenoblade Chronicles being able to run on the new Nintendo 3DS and only on the new Nintendo 3DS, to games like Hyrule Warriors Legends, where we saw footage between how it ran on the new 3DS to the old 3DS, and it ran well on the new Nintendo 3DS, but, pardon my language, ran like crap on the old 3DS, though. So it's not surprising to those who own a Switch or those who've been following Nintendo know that probably at some point Nintendo is going to release a revision of a Nintendo Switch, or a newer version, or whatever you want to refer to it. But an interesting article that picked up by other sites, that it got picked up by US Gamer, might reveal some interesting information that has come out, although US Gamer later did a retraction of it. So according to them, based on the original article, they wrote that, quote, "A hot rumor right now is that Nintendo is working on 2 new Nintendo Switches revisions for later one this year. One designed to be more portable, the other more powerful. But a new report suggests that the more powerful revision may have been delayed due to technical issues. Japanese business journalist Nikkei has reported on Nintendo's plans for the Nintendo Switch with new details on future models. USG independently translated the report, which claims that a next generation model for the Switch, different from a planned inexperienced version, has been postponed. The reason appears to be specifically with getting the Nintendo Switch operating system running on this new hardware, and an issue with power consumption. It is not clear based on the wording of the article whether the postponed model is the rumored Switch Pro or a complete hardware sequel like a Nintendo Switch 2. What Nikki is reporting, however, is that there is indeed more powerful Switch hardware in development, and Nintendo has encountered technical difficulties with it. Furthermore, the report has details about an inexperienced version of a Nintendo Switch, which backs up earlier reports from the Wall Street Journal that Nintendo is working on a slimmer, more portable, and possible cheaper version of the Nintendo Switch. Nikki has referred to this as a small bargain version of the main game console Nintendo Switch and said it released this fall. While it's reportedly designed for portable outdoor use, the report also suggests that it will be dockable and playable on the TV. This goes against earlier rumors that suggested that the smaller Switch will do away with the TV component of the current Nintendo Switch model, though. It's been 2 years since the Nintendo Switch was released in March 2017, and Nintendo has had great success with the console. But with the new generation of PlayStation and Xbox console on the horizon, it seems Nintendo is also aiming to refresh its hardware line. The latest seems to indicate that Nintendo plans to go further than a Switch Lite and a Switch Pro, however. Now, later that story was updated with a correction, and according to US Gamer, they're saying, quote, under the correction, excuse me, our original translation of the article appears to have error in suggesting that the updated variety of the Switch or next generation version was being postponed due to technical problems, though Nikki is indeed reporting that the lighter version of the Switch will be dockable with the television. Here's the full translation from a revealed section of the Nikki article, and they point out they regret the error. According to the correction that they made, they said, quote, beyond the small budget focused model lies the development of an overhauled next generation model intended to replace the one currently available. Nintendo is believed to be experimenting on a number of different things for the device, including usable, improved image rendering, and changes to the operating system, among other things. One developer source contends, however, that it still remains unclear at this stage who at the company will end up taking the lead on concept development for the new console. So obviously they are updated that. So it doesn't sound like the Switch Pro or the Switch 2. It sounds like that it, at least according to the correction, if I'm reading this correctly, obviously may not be delayed. Either way, though, I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo releases a revised version of the Nintendo Switch. Given that the fact we're getting close to the PS5 and the next Xbox, obviously Nintendo will want to keep that momentum going, and it certainly isn't shocking that a revision will happen. As to exactly how this revision, what it will look like or anything like that, I suspect most likely Nintendo will stick with the Switch design for a while, considering how successful it has been so far. And I'm given the current partnership they have with Nvidia at this time, unless there's barring any major changes, I could see them maybe using a different chipset from them. Maybe a more powerful chip on the Tegra X1 line. Maybe something along the Tegra X2. Maybe use some of their graphic cards like Pascal that's using one of their chips, or maybe a brand new chipset that incorporates certain elements. So the fact that we could be hearing about a revision and so forth doesn't really surprise me. When will they announce it, or if they'll announce it, though, remains to be seen. I will have to find out if they announce anything at E3, and it sounds like, at least from the slimmer version, it sounds more likely they just basically reduce the size of it or anything like that. It doesn't sound like they made any major changes, though I could be wrong on that. But I suspect that there is a good chance, perhaps maybe we'll hear something next year about a Switch revision, probably a Switch Pro or a new Nintendo Switch to be exact. I don't know if they're going to do anything like 4K or 8K like what the PS5 is doing, anything like that. I'm not sure if they're going to aim in that direction, but we'll have to wait and see. So overall, some of this sounds like stuff rumors that we've already heard about at this time. So we'll have to wait and see when we hear official confirmation whether or not. So I wouldn't be surprised if this happens, but I'm waiting until we hear absolute official confirmation. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 8, right here, 8 of our My 2 Cent video, and this has to be something positive for Assassin's Creed Unity, though. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part, let me get that out. Yeah, there we go. Part 8 of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, it has to do with Assassin's Creed Unity and Ubisoft doing something a little bit interesting with the game, especially despite the current situation that happened in Paris, France. Now, anybody who has visited France before, there are a lot of historical sites to see. Two of the most iconic ones I could think of, though, are of course the Eiffel Tower and the Notre Dame church, or Notre Dame, or Notre Dame, if I'm saying the name correctly, though. And obviously, most of who saw on the news this week, though, saw the devastating fire that really took it out and all. And it was really, really shocking to see what happened, though. Although, from what I've been hearing lately, the investigation has so far pointed towards a faulty wire or something that happened. So it really was very shocking to see this happen. So it was very interesting to see a lot of people were willing to donate to rebuild this church, to rebuild it after the devastating fire that happened to it. And Ubisoft seems to be doing something, not only donating money to help rebuild the famous Notre Dame church over there, or Notre Dame, apologize if I'm saying the name incorrectly though, but they're also giving away one of the games that use that setting, Assassin's Creed Unity, though, or at least a game to download for free. Now, the Assassin's Creed Unity unfortunately has had a troubled history, though. The game was launched with bugs and glitches to the point where even Ubisoft used a review embargo to cover up just how bad that game was. And apparently they suffered backlash for it, and they basically apologized, not only apologized for it, but they canceled the season pass and offered one free game to download in the whole situation. But it seems that some people still enjoy the game nevertheless, and apparently Ubisoft is doing something about it. In an article in Engage, it reads, quote, following the fire that devastated Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris this week, Ubisoft has pledged 500,000 euros, $564,000 to help restore the iconic church. The studio, which faithfully recreated Notre Dame in Assassin's Creed Unity, is also offering that game for free until April 25th on PC to honor the landmark. We want to give everyone a chance to experience the majestic and beauty of Notre Dame the best way we know how, Ubisoft, which is headquarters in France and has a studio in Paris, said. It's also worth pointing out, though, that supposedly the Assassin's Creed Unity game could help rebuild Notre Dame, according to Game Rant, although it is reported at this time, though, that they're reporting that nothing has been decided at this time. So we don't know if that will actually happen or not, but it does sound like it is one option on the table, though. So it's very nice to see that Ubisoft is donating money to help help the reconstruction of the Notre Dame Cathedral Church in Paris, France, although it is worth pointing out that Tim Cook and the folks at Apple will be making a donation. Disney has pledged $5 million to rebuild it as well, and dating app Babo, Badoo, will also donate all the profits it makes from its 22 million users in France this month, and wealthy businesses and wealthy family and business in France, and among those who have contributed around $1 billion so far to help rebuild this historic landslide. So it's very nice to see a lot of people donating to help rebuild the Notre Dame Cathedral Church that almost burned down in Paris, France. And it was very nice to see Ubisoft not only donate money, but offer the game for free, though. For all the criticism Ubisoft gets, and there are justifiable criticisms, and they do deserve it, though, it is applauding that they are willing to do something like this, though. And it would be really interesting to see if the game Assassin Creed Unity is used to help rebuild the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, France, though. So overall, very nice that Ubisoft is doing this, though. And it's very nice that they're offering the game for free, at least temporarily, for people to download, though. So, and here's to hoping that we see the cathedral, Notre Dame Cathedral, rebuild back to. It may not be the same because of the fire, though, but hopefully it is rebuilt and restored to as close to its former self as they possibly could. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 9, our last My 2 Cent video, and this one has to do with a story that broke out on Thursday that a remake of the game 13 is happening. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our. Let's see if I get that right. We are back with our 9th and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and this one has to do with the unexpected announcement of a remake of the cult classic 13 has been announced for not only the PS4 and Xbox One, but the Nintendo Switch. Now, to be honest with you, I remember hearing about this game a long time ago, back when it came out during the Xbox One, Xbox, regular Xbox, PS2 and GameCube era, to be exact. But I never got a chance to try it out or anything like that. Maybe at the time I wasn't really into those kind of games or not. But I've heard some stories about it. Some people liked it. Some people enjoyed the story. Some people enjoyed the gameplay and all that stuff. It got, for what I'd say, maybe some mixed reviews, but nevertheless, it became a cult classic among a lot of gamers. Well, apparently it seems as though the game is going to be revived again, courtesy of, let's see if I could get the name of the studio out there. Shoot, if I could get the name. Oh, crap. All right, hang on. I almost know the name of the studio. Let me get him out. Oh, okay, yeah. The game is being handled by MICROIDS and Play Magic L. That was the same studio that published and put out, last year's Toki for the Nintendo Switch. But anyway, in an article from GameSpot, though, it reports that a remake of Stylish Shooter 13 comes this year. According to the article, it says, the Stylish Shooter 13 is coming back as a remake slated for release on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch this year. The original 2003 game was known for its mind-bending story, and the remake is said to be bore out of a desire to introduce the story-driven game to a new generation who may have missed it more than a decade ago. The reveal on the PlayStation blog includes a few pieces of concept art for both the environment and one character, showing off the new visual art styles. Among other things, X was known for its cel-shaded. It talks about what it was known for its cel-shaded aesthetics, which has been maintained, but updated with a lot more details. Basically, it was basically a first-person shooter, story-driven type of game. I think it had like 34 levels, a multiplayer mode to be exact. So it sounded like it was an interesting title. It was a shame that I never got a chance to try it out. I do remember that supposedly David Duchovny, Ancient Molar from the X-Files, voiced 13, and I wasn't aware that the late Adam West voiced the character. So it's very nice to see that this game is getting a remake, though, and it's nice to see that they want to port over and do like a story-driven game for a new generation. So, and like I said, I never got a chance to try this title out, so this is certainly one I definitely would be keeping an eye out. And who knows, maybe this one will do well this time around, and perhaps maybe they'll do maybe like a sequel or so forth, though. It is a little interesting to see that Ubisoft is not involved in this at all, though, considering I believe they published the game when it originally came out back in 2003 on the original Xbox, PlayStation 2, and the GameCube. But kudos to the developers or the studio that gave us the Toki game on the Nintendo Switch that are working on this one. Hopefully we'll see maybe the gunplay will improve in some areas, to be exact. Maybe they'll clean up the visuals a little bit, so we'll have to wait and see. But my overall takeaway from this is that it's great that a game like 13 is getting remade for a new generation. Hopefully it does well this time around. But I am looking forward to trying it out. Mostly I'm aiming more towards the Switch version, but obviously there are going to be those who might get it on either PC, PS4, or Xbox One. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the information about the PlayStation 5? Are you looking forward to it? Do you like what you hear? Are you glad that it will be backwards compatible? Are you glad that they will still support physical media? What are your thoughts about SNK? Are you happy that SNK Tag Team, Heroine Tag Team Frenzy sold very well? Are you excited that they're working on a new Neo Geo console, both version 2 or 3, or do you not care? Are you interested to see what the new Metal Slug game they're working on as well? Do you think you're looking forward to that one, or you're not looking forward to that one? What are your thoughts about the new 8.0 update for the Nintendo Switch? Are you pleased with this update, or do you think they could have improved on some areas? What do you think about? What are your thoughts about Reggie? This being the last week of Reggie being Nintendo of America president, though. You gonna miss him though? Do you think it's sad, or do you think it's sad that we didn't get one more direct with him sort of doing a final send-off in any way? What are your thoughts about Jedi Fallen Order? Do you think Respawn and EA are hitting all the right notes? Do you think this Star Wars game will do very well? Or do you have doubts, or are you very cautious about it considering how EA has handled the Star Wars license so far? What are your thoughts about Labo being sold out in the US, to it doing well in Japan, entering at number 2, but not doing well at the UK at the very least? Are you surprised by this? Are you not surprised by this? Do you think Nintendo Labo will do well in the US at all, or are you not so sure about it? What are your thoughts about the comments made regarding any possibility of Apex Legends coming to the Nintendo Switch, or any chance of it coming to the Nintendo Switch? Do you think that it will come to the Nintendo Switch? Do you think it will probably not come to the Nintendo Switch at all? Or do you think, or do you really care if the game comes to the Switch or not? What are your thoughts about the newest rumor about the Nintendo Switch, or the rumors about a new revision of it, though, a little later with a retraction, though? Do you think this sounds about right? Do you think Nintendo will announce a smaller version of the Nintendo Switch? Do you think that we'll hear maybe the Switch Pro or Switch 2 sometime around as we get closer to getting the release date of maybe the PS5 or the next Xbox, to be exact? What are your thoughts about the fact that Assassin Creed Unity is going to be for free on the PC, and Ubisoft is donating money in response to what happened to the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, France? Do you think this is a good thing that Ubisoft has done? Do you think it's possible that they could use Assassin's Creed Unity, or the way the Notre Dame Cathedral was using Assassin Creed Unity. Do you think they'll use that as a way to rebuild the parts that were burned down during the fire that hit this week? And what are your thoughts about 13 getting a remake? Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think people will be more interested in this game now than they were back in 2003? Are you looking forward to this game? Or you're not looking forward to this game? And again, do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links are in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!